everyone and welcome back to Waverly Reads. Here is a bonus video for you guys where I am doing my November wrap up. The reason I'm doing it like this is because I wanted to slide in a few more Christmas videos, as if I did this on my normal upload day, I'd only have 2 days to bring you Christmas videos, and I wanted to film a few more than that. So here is a little bit of bonus content for you guys. So in today's video I'm going to be going through the books that I read in November, excluding one book because it's not mine, it's Tia's, and I had to give it back to her, so I can't really show it to you guys. I read 8 books in the month of November and I'm going to go through them with you from start to finish. Correction, I read 6 books, 2 of these are DNFs. I just was not in a good mood this month apparently. So the first book I actually read this month was my first DNF, and that was The Iron Witch by Karen Mahoney. This is nothing against this book, I just didn't feel like picking it up, and eventually I just decided I'm not going to read this anytime soon, so I just DNF'd it, or rather I put it on hold, I guess. So I got to page 150 before DNFing this, which was around the halfway mark. It wasn't anything about the book, I just wasn't in the mood to read it, so I decided to put it down and pick it up at a later date perhaps. Right now this book just wasn't for me. This is a bit of a stand-in for the book that I actually read. You can't see it, but the second book I read was Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire. Now this is Walking Disaster, this is the sequel. You just picture that this is Beautiful Disaster. I read Beautiful Disaster. Beautiful Disaster is a book about a girl named Abby who is in this boarding school type thing where, you know, they live at school in dorms and stuff like that. Get away from her past in Kansas, and she doesn't want anyone finding out about it. She just basically wants a fresh start. And then she meets a boy named Travis who is exactly like the guys and people and life she had tried to leave behind. Inevitably they fall in love and shit happens. It was great. I loved the book so much, and I know this isn't the book, but I still really loved it. Got a 4.2 stars in my rating system and then a 5 stars in my enjoyability. I really liked it, and I recommend it for those who aren't really into contemporary like me and I'm more into like the dark side, because this story is very dark. Next book I read is the first book in the Lawton Crepsley saga, and that is Birth of a Killer by Darren Shan. These books, this series, this saga is a prequel saga to the Cirque du Freak saga. How many times can I say saga in one sentence? These basically follow the story of Lawton Crepsley, who is my favourite character from the Cirque du Freak, before he met Darren, and his journey into becoming a vampire, how he was as a human, how he was as a new blood, how he was as a fledgling. It was just the cutest thing in the world. I loved this. Wouldn't recommend reading these before reading the Cirque du Freak, even though they are prequels. There are spoilers in these books for the next saga, so just keep that in mind. I wouldn't recommend reading them before, but I would definitely recommend reading them. Just, they are life, they give me strength and my heart. I loved this saga. You tell I've read the rest, spoiler alert. Before reading the rest, I picked up Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and as you can see, this still has a bookmark in it. I DNF'd this book. So difficult to read. The writing style was just not what I was expecting. Being someone who has read other Neil Gaiman works, I just wasn't really into this. It was just very difficult to read. So I DNF'd it at 57 pages. I wasn't going to force myself to read it knowing that I couldn't read it. That 57 pages probably took me about 3 hours to read. That's how hard I found it to read this book, so I just didn't continue with it. And then the next 3 books I read were the last 3 in the Lawton Crepsley saga. Loved these, I've already told you what they're about, but all of them got a 5 star out of 5 in my enjoyability rating. But if we're being technical about like the storylines and stuff, Ocean of Blood was definitely my favourite, which is the second book, and then there is Palace of the Damned and Brothers to the Death. So Birth of a Killer got 4.3 stars, Ocean of Blood got 4.8 stars, Palace of the Damned got 4.6 stars, and Brothers to the Death got 4.7 stars. But like I said, they all got a 5 star in my enjoyability rating. I love them all so much, and Ocean of Blood was definitely my favourite. If you watch my vlogs, you will know that I am pre-filming this a few days before the end of the month, but I've also read Walking Disaster, which is the book I was holding up for Beautiful Disaster. This is exactly the same story, but in Travis's point of view, and I've got to say I am enjoying this a lot more. I'm currently on page 206, but I know that I'm going to finish this within the next 2 days. With my 100-page count, that'll finish it anyway. So yeah, I also read this, and I'm telling you now, enjoyability is 5 stars. I prefer it over Beautiful Disaster, and I feel like it might be one of my favourite books. Not an all-time favourite, sadly, but definitely one of my favourites. So those are all the books that I did and did not read in the month of November. Let me know what you guys read down below, or if you've read any of these or want to read any of these. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I love you all so much, to infinity and beyond. My name is Waverly, and now I'm off to read. Bye guys!